Okay, I just left not too long from the access point on Canoe Lake. I was going to do the video there, but it was getting all crowded and people were all mingling all around, so I decided to get out on the lake. If you look out here, it looks like a gorgeous day, and it is, although it's getting quite windy now. There's whitecaps appearing, and luckily it will be on my back, so I'll have a tailwind, but we'll see how it goes. But certainly the colors are still out there, and it's still pretty glorious out there with the fall colors. But it's going to be a long day. It's almost about noon now. Started late because of the fiasco at the gate office. The staff apparently didn't know that the Canoe Lake permit office was closed, and they sent me there, and of course I had to go back, so that took quite a bit of time to sort that out. Now, I'll probably need to get going. It's going to be a long day to Sunbeam, so let's see how it goes. Oh yeah, this is the new pilot from Composite Creation. Well, it's not new, it's new for me, paddling for the first time. So it's a little different. I'm used to actually paddling a full 16-foot canoe solo. So to have a 13-foot canoe that's actually built as a solo canoe is a little different, and I can already feel the difference. So I'm just getting my wings, as you can say, paddling a solo canoe, and we'll see how it goes. But I think with the wind it'll be a little bit more challenging.
It was windy alright, but thankfully it was a tailwind. Here's the familiar sign and turn off to either Potter Creek or Joe Lake. I was headed to Joe Lake.
So I don't know if you can see the whitecaps on the water there. We got some good rollers coming in. We're just at the Narrows at the far end of Canoe Lake as we approach the portage coming up down these Narrows. So yeah, it was a little hairy at times. It was kind of cool because it was almost like you're surfing because of the wave took this little canoe and just kind of really pushed it ahead. So you know, there wasn't much paddling involved, just trying to keep it angled right, and you know, when you catch the wave, try to surf it and you know, get it to go forward a little bit more to get that momentum going. But got through it okay. So we're in a more of a calm spot now, so I'll get to relax a little bit more and enjoy the scenery as we come into our first portage. So here we are approaching our first portage of the day, Yonge Street Portage. Gets us out of Canoe Lake and into Joe Lake. There's the all typical yellow portage sign. Okay, so I did the first carry already. So the question is, why do they call this the Yonge Street Portage? You couldn't see any evidence of it today. In the regular season, it's packed with people. And often the put-in and the takeout is just loaded with boats and people mingling around, so it gets to be a little bit hectic, almost like being downtown Toronto on Yonge Street. But as you can see here, the path is fairly wide and flat and clear at this moment because there's really nobody here. I think those people just behind me were the first people that I saw. I don't know if they're actually staying overnight or they're just day tripping, but yeah, it's empty here. It's not like how you often see it here when I've come through here before, so it's kind of a nice treat to have the whole portage trail all to yourself. Now, this is the Yonge Street Portage, and probably the most popular one in the park. It's short too. That's probably why it's popular. Probably only about 200 odd meters. Okay, this is hilarious. Just as I got off the camera and then just made it to the end to get the canoe, I just saw like a dozen people at the takeout, and I don't know if you can see here, there's people at the had to put in. Yeah, it was just ironic. You know what? It started to feel like Yonge Street Portage all over again. So it was good timing. Got to show you when it was empty. All right, time to make some distance on Joe Lake. Okay, we're on Little Doe Lake now. It's about just about 2:30, so it was about a good 2.5 hours to get here. And just around the corner, over on our left there, if you look over on the left, that's where we will be entering into, well, I'll show you here. If you look down here on the map, we are right over here at this campsite. Let me see if I can get you in closer here. Right there. And just around the corner, we'll be making our way up to Bluejay Lake. And of course, the infamous creek to Vanishing Pond right here. I just wanted to stop. I had to go to the washroom, but besides that, I wanted to get some water and get some food in me before we start the more challenging part of the trip. And I can't take too long because obviously I started a little later today, but I want to be able to get started so that if I run into a problem, I'm not trying to do this in the dark. So anyhow, we'll have a little bit of a break, and then we'll make our way. I was looking at this campsite here, and obviously it's well cleared and well used, but it's just a sad sight because there's quite a few birch trees here, and everybody likes to use birch bark to start a fire. But these poor birch trees are just being torn the hell out of them as people are ripping shreds of sheets of birch bark off of them. And if you look over there, I mean, they're no different. All these birch trees, especially from probably about, I'd say probably about up to 8 feet, they've all been stripped. And these birch trees are looking up. They're actually still alive. See? But I wonder over time if it's going to affect them and it's going to kill them. But even way beyond there, like if you look over there, even there they have a lot of their birch bark stripped off. It's unfortunate. I don't know. You know, starting a fire, I guess, could be challenging at times, but I mean, there's things like pine needles all over the floor here, and you know what? If they just had used other techniques or brought stuff from home, they wouldn't have to strip the bark off these birch trees and subject them to probably an earlier death. It's too bad. Clouds have definitely moved in, and it looks like the clear blue skies are no more. There's a forecast of rain tomorrow, lots of rain tomorrow, so oh well. Gotta be ready for it. The funny thing is that at the end of the season, we always have leftovers of food from trips and things like that, so I always find that on, you know, the last few trips that I'm pulling all the scrap foods, the leftover foods, and eating them all up. And this nan was from the previous trip. It's still good. We got a bunch of smoked Gouda that's still sitting around, so I'm eating them on this trip so I can get rid of them. Still good. So we're just getting out of Little Doe Lake and entering Bluejay Lake. And as you can see, it already looks a little bit shallow here, but certainly still deep enough for me to paddle no problem, but hope this, if it stayed like this level I'll be fine, but if it gets any shallower this could be interesting. This is the narrows before Bluejay Lake. So far looking good. Water is still maintaining some good depth so I can paddle easily, and you can see the lake up ahead. Looks like the makings of a beaver dam. Not that the level is very different from either side. So I'll get to do my first little lift over here. Alright, well maybe not actually. Nice thing with the short canoe, you should be able to haul yourself over and also being very light. Let's see. There we go. That didn't take too much effort. And Bluejay Lake is looking pretty good. Well, at least I know I'll make it to the end of this. And after that, we go into a creek, and then soon after, it's a portage. And beyond that, who knows? Okay, we're just at the north end of Bluejay Lake. And from far back, it almost looked like just vegetation and no way through. But of course, when you get closer, you start to see a way through. Thank goodness. So it's pretty much center. Oops! See, already went, stopped on a log. So hopefully this won't keep happening. Oh, this is dead pickerel weed. Still lots of water. There you go. There's the portage sign. All right, time to unload. Here's a look down Bluejay Lake, from the narrows to the lake, and here's the portage right around the corner. And here's why there's a portage. Kind of looks kind of like some of the rivers that I went up. But nope, I'm not going to drag. I'm going to definitely use the portage, because I'm sure there might be opportunities to drag somewhere else. Gotta admit, portaging in the fall is just absolutely gorgeous. Look at the colors. It's like a carpet laid down for you to walk on. Not that it's smooth or anything, but it's gorgeous up here. The irony is that, you know, there's a lot of talk about that Vanishing Pond and the creek having no water. So you would think that a lot of people wouldn't come here. But if you look at the trail, it's in great shape and it's well worn. So a lot of people have come through here, definitely. I'm really curious to see what's on the other end. Of course, this time of year, water tends to be low, but I was just hoping that with all that extra rain that we've been having, that it would come up a bit. And now here's a view of the creek, partway through the portage, and that part right there does look like it's got water. Let's just hope there's more all the way at the end. Looks like we're getting to the end of the portage. And look, there is water here. So that's a good sign, at least for this portion of it. I don't know what's at the end, but we can worry about that later. I'm just happy that there's something that we can paddle. So there's a beaver dam here, obviously, and that's what probably stopped the flow, which is actually a good thing, because if it wasn't there, this would be probably bone dry. So thank you, beaver. Thank you, Beaver. Alright, let's go back for the canoe. Okay, so I'm here to get the canoe, and being that it's a little longer, 400 meters, I'm going to see if I can portage the canoe. I know it sounds funny, but the last portage I didn't really portage the usual way. I'll show you why. If you look at this pilot, it doesn't have a yoke. It has a thwart and just a seat. That's pretty much it. So, and so not that you couldn't get a yoke on it. This was the canoe that Andy gave me to try out, and he acknowledged that there was no thwart on it. But anyhow, we're going to give it a shot. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take the paddles and strap it on lengthwise and try to use that as a yoke for the portage. So I'll put it together. Let's see how it goes. So what I've got here are these bungee like straps, as my wife would refer to them as. She refers to them as conkers. Anyhow, so what we'll do is we'll try to strap the paddles on and create a little bit of a yoke setup. So by having it lengthwise, this will hopefully rest on my shoulder or my traps, and I'll be able to portage it a little easier than without. So let's give it a try. Well, it slid. Let's see if I can get over. Guess I need it pretty close. There we go. I think I just needed it closer. We got something. Yeah, I guess I need it closer because it's a little wide on my shoulder. And boy, I should have brought a yoke pad. Mind you, I could probably do it like this. I might have to adjust it. Okay, so that wasn't too bad. Just finished the portage. Taking a little more time than usual just because I'm doing some filming along the way for you guys. And it's just past 4:30, so let's see what we find here. So let's keep going, and hopefully there's enough water to get to the pond. Let's go. So I don't know if you noticed, but I brought two paddles, not just only as a spare, but I brought two different types of paddles. I brought a square paddle and otter tail. Just because I knew that this was going to be shallow, I figured at this point you wouldn't want to wreck up the otter tail there. So I've got pretty rugged, square-bladed, expedition whitewater type paddle, which will be great for these shallows, and it'll give me an opportunity to pull more water than the narrow otter tail there. So far, so good. Let's hope this continues all the way to the pond. So I'm finding that the key is not necessarily the shortest way through this. Sometimes it looks like a longer way around, but it's actually a deeper channel, and it's obviously the easier way. I thought there was an easier way across a bigger body of water, but in fact it was actually very shallow. I had to do a lot of hauling with the paddle in the muck to get through. Now I found the deep channel again, and of course it winds and it's longer, but it's significantly easier than having to push and pull with the paddle. So we're making a little bit of progress. I'm glad there's some deep water here. We'll just have to make sure we follow this this channel here. And see, I'll go to the right. Oh yeah, the left one doesn't go anywhere. So not too long, I just approached a heron, and actually he let me get pretty close. I was like probably about 10 feet away. I got a couple shots off and before it flew off. But as I'm paddling down this channel, you can see here, this part of the shore is all matted down. See, it was a nesting or a resting area for some animal. I'm not sure what it is. It doesn't look like there's any nests here. But if along there, like right about there, there's a channel. It's hard to see from here, but there's a channel or matted grass where this animal had walked, and it matted down the grass there as well too. So it's kind of cool to see this. I'm sure these animals are not used to seeing too many people come through here. But yep, we'll keep going down on here on the left, and hopefully we'll make some good progress. Slow going, but the water's still pretty deep, so I can't complain. Just gotta find the right channel. Now, as we're making our way north, if you look on Jeff's map, there's a lake on our right side at some point, or the creek actually leads to the lake, and it's called Baden-Powell. Now, I don't know the significance of the name, but apparently there's a cache there, and a lot of scouts have been there and they've left stuff in the cache. Apparently, I think it's now, there's 2 of them, because I guess there's so much stuff there, because there have been scouts from all across the world. And one of my followers on Facebook told me to go check it out if I have a chance. Now, I didn't bring a GPS on this trip, so if I can see the channel and it's pretty evident which way it goes, then I'll probably go for it, even though it is kind of late. I probably should still push, because I don't know what I'll find on the pond. But let's see if I can identify it. I mean, it looks like it's on the right somewhere, like on the right here. But whoa, bird! Yeah, you know, soloing has its benefit, but when you're in a tight, twisty creek like this, it's really nice to have a bow paddler who can draw and cross draw and help you get the canoe turned right around. I can still do it, but the thing is, it's not always deep, so sometimes it's a little bit of a struggle to get the canoe to turn. And that's the other thing about this canoe that I'll show you later. I'm used to paddling canoes without any kind of keel, but this one does have a keel, and so it's it's kind of a love-hate relationship, because on the lake, when it's really choppy and you want the canoe to go straight, it helps in that. But here, when you want to make the turns, it's just not turning the way I'm used to. Ooh, there's a tree down here. So unless I have it keeled over, that's the only way I can get it to turn faster. But it's not always easy here to keel it over, because I got only so much water. So sometimes I have to switch paddle sides. Didn't have to do a lift over. That's okay. Still, my feet are still dry. That's a good thing. Although if the pond is indeed vanished, I have a feeling my feet may get wet. So, let's see what happens. So the one thing I've noticed here is that there's a lot of grass flattened here, so it's quite possible during shallower times people either portage this part or they line it. So I'm going to attempt to try to line it. I'm going to attach a rope and then pull it through and see what we have over there. Hopefully more water. So if you see right up there, there's a beaver dam, and there's lots of water up there. That's awesome. Look at that water, all that water. This is good news. Good chance that that Vanishing Pond might exist. I love the sound of water pouring down a beaver dam. It just means that the water is just getting deeper. So this is a good sign. Just do a quick lift over here and keep the momentum going. Hopefully the beavers have dammed right up to past Vanishing Pond, and it'll be good. There we go. One liftover done. So this part of the creek is actually very deep, and I'm able to use my beaver tail here. And if you look here, it widens up, and there's even more water. It looks like another kind of broken beaver dam, maybe from previous people that have come through. But anyhow, looks like there's a lot of water up here. I ain't complaining. Let's see if I can get up this channel, because somebody obviously broke it. I guess by breaking this, it's a good idea for water going down, but maybe not for up here. But right now, the water's still being held back by quite a bit of the dam, so I don't think I'm gonna have a problem with water here. Look at that. Oh yeah. I'm not going to jump for joy because I'm not exactly sure where I am. But if this is the beginning of Vanishing Pond, this is a good sign. Now, I don't know if you're going to be able to see this, but I'm in the middle of this big pond. I'm not going to say it's Vanishing Pond, but if you look over here, I don't know if it's easier for you to see or not, but right along there's a channel. It means that either a moose or a canoe has come through there, because all the lily pads and vegetation has been kind of cleared from that area. So with that beaver dam that was broken down over there, to me it looks like the sign of another canoe or multiple canoes that came through here. So that's a good sign. If it got all the way down there, that means I should be able to make it up there to Sunbeam. So let's keep going. This is looking pretty optimistic.